So, if we speak about tariffs, are tariffs on green tech a smart climate move or a disaster? We're told the green transition will save the planet, and we all believe in that, almost all believe in that. But the green transition is made with tools that are mostly made in countries with cheap labor and dirty energy. I'm talking about solar panels, wind turbines, electric cars. So isn't this actually climate dumping? And shouldn't we treat climate dumping with tariffs like usually? In today's episode, we'll discuss this dilemma. And we are also going to explore what's at stake for citizens, for businesses, researchers, governments. Then we speak with Cristina Pérez Simón from Fundación Hazloposible in Zaragoza, Spain. The name translates more or less like foundation, make it possible. And they are making it possible to do a lot of interesting work in the social economy. And it really shows what transformation looks like when values are met with action, are put into action. It's a very interesting interview, don't miss it. And finally, in this episode, we'll look into this open call for European Solidarity Corps. You can get the quality label, and that will enable you to apply for other funding in the future. And this is an open call. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. See you next week. So the question today is, should we tariff green tech? You heard about this discussion, and it's about solar panels, electric vehicles, wind turbines, but it's mostly about power, economic power, political power. The question behind it is this: should we make green tech more expensive with tariffs, or should we open an exception to, I don't know, save the planet and keep those products from being subject to tariffs? Let's start with the beginning. Globalization actually brought us a lot of wealth. It brought us cheap goods, fast tech, open markets. It also brought us, at the same time, emissions, skyrocketing emissions, because supply chains are very long. It brought us pollution. And a kind of a race to the bottom when it comes to environmental standards. So we exported both the production of many goods and also the carbon footprint of that production to countries where protections are lower. And now we face this dilemma. So what do we do when going green, buying green, still means buying dirty? That's the discussion I want to go into today, because somehow we could call this climate dumping if we are buying electric vehicles, for instance, that are built in countries that don't really worry that much about carbon footprint. We get very happy because now we have a vehicle that doesn't pollute. And we don't see how much it has polluted the planet somewhere else. And the planet is only one. So there are pros and cons in this discussion. And there is even another tariff dilemma behind it. The thing is, should we put tariffs on green technologies that are made in these polluting countries? Because on the one hand, these tariffs will kind of protect local green industries. They will push for global standards that are cleaner. But on the other hand, these tariffs will raise prices for solar panels, for electric vehicles, for wind turbines. And this will slow down the green transition. There's no way around it. Also, they risk triggering, these eventual tariffs risk triggering trade wars with China and others. So the question is, what is worse? Climate change or a few more years of cheaper imports, even if we're buying dirty? And this is where it gets kind of personal, because if you are a researcher, a policymaker, entrepreneur, you're in the middle of it. If you are a consumer, you are also in the middle of it. And this decision will bring lots of money to some people and empty the wallets of other people. The winners of these green tariffs may be in the short term, the European American tech startups with the cleaner production methods, the local electric vehicle manufacturers, and the losers may be the households who would like to install solar but are on a budget, and they won't be able to buy as cheap. The losers may be NGOs and public projects who are relying on affordable tech and they don't get it anymore. People buying an electric vehicle will lose, obviously. And well, in the end of the day, the climate will also lose if these tariffs slow down the green transition. So what should we do? The answers are never easy, but there are some paths forward, which include creating mechanisms, carbon border adjustment mechanisms that set clear rules. In the end, that set a clear distinction between what is climate dumping and what is acceptable. What else can we do? Strategic investments to create local supply chains. That's a nice expression, easy to say, much more difficult to do. We can set global green standards which carry trade incentives and try to overcome tariffs this way. And mostly what has been done to this date is tech wars instead of tech diplomacy, which could help a lot more. But one thing is clear, even though many of those options are not that clear and not easy to explain, one thing is clear. Green nowadays is not just a color, it's actually a battleground. This is going to be a huge industry, and there's a lot at stake with these tariffs and these policies. So, what do you think about this? Should we shield our industries with tariffs in Europe and America? Or should we open our arms to cheaper, clean tech, regardless of its source, of how it's manufactured? Put this way. This isn't really a debate about economics. It's more of a battle about power in the future. So should we tariff products manufactured with climate dumping? And if we do that, why stop at climate dumping? Shouldn't we also tariff products that are manufactured with social dumping? We could also talk about tax dumping. Hello, Ireland. Let's talk about it. I want to hear your opinions in the comments. I hope you enjoy it. So, welcome back to InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles. Welcome, Cristina. Thank you for being here. This week we have with us Cristina Pérez. She works in Zaragoza, Spain, in the Fundación Hazloposible, which I think can be translated to English as do what you can, what is possible. What's your activity? You do what you can?
Thank you, Fernando, first of all, for inviting us. This is a great opportunity for the visibility of the foundation and its purpose. So, of course, the Fundación Hazloposible means make it possible, and we try to make it possible, of course.
Okay, I was translating wrong, sorry.
It's almost the same. It's just a synonym. So, we are actually now escalating the foundation's purposes and activities to the European funding. I have previously worked on this area before in formal jobs. So yeah, we are struggling a bit in the sense of it is quite difficult for a small organization to start running with all of the internal resources that a small organization has. But we are exciting because we are finding like a huge welcoming from bigger partners in our matchmaking events, and I see the value on our activities and the complementary things that we can bring to this sphere.
Okay, tell us a little bit about those activities. What do you do?
Sure. So our foundation mainly wants to connect the three main agents of our ecosystem, which are citizenship, enterprises, and NGOs. So at the beginning, we started in a local level, but now we are running in a national level. We work remotely, all of us, so we are able to reach the entire, national territory so far. And our main activities are based in digital solutions, but we, of course, deploy some activities as well presentially with different collectives. That is because our huge ecosystem allow us to do so. We have collaborations with more than 16,000 NGOs in Spain. We also have 500 social enterprises and cooperatives working alone. And normally we boost candidates for the job market, not only in the social sector, in the economic, the social economy, sorry, but also inclusiveness in the ordinary market for the enterprises that want to become more diverse in terms of staff and activities.
Okay, so what you're saying is that all of that is possible if you connect those three main agents. That's an interesting thought. Uh, you were saying that you had previous experience with the EU-funded projects. So where did you work before? No, I don't mean the companies. You may not want to advertise them, but where did you work before, in what areas? And one more thing you said that really caught my attention. You said that those were formal jobs. So right now you don't have a formal job, you have an informal one. Talk us a little bit about that, please.
Oh, sorry, I meant former jobs, to be honest.
Ah, former. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
misunderstood.
but that's also interesting because I want to bring later the attention on the professionalization of the sector. That is something, struggling a bit nowadays in the smaller entities. But I will talk previously, now about my background.
Sure.
I have been working in Erasmus Plus. I mean, I started as a volunteer myself in the European Solidarity Corps projects. So when I saw the implementation, I really got interested in participating anyhow in my professional career. And then I started designing the proposals and deploying the activities myself. So I'm pretty content with that. And I expanded my wise and my expertise in more than Erasmus Plus. We went through the entire Horizon Europe calls, not only in Pilar 2 in the clusters, but also in the accelerator programs. And I also have participated as as a partner in the COSME proposals and also digital program. And I have been working in this for 5 years now. And when I started in this foundation, in Hazloposible, they proposed me all these scaling projects, ambitious vision, and I am super excited with it. Mostly because, as I said, the smaller organizations in the nonprofit sector, they are struggling a lot with getting confused as SMEs, for instance, in the calls on Horizon Europe. We don't have the same expertise, but at the same time, we are also kind of a business. We need to get somehow funds to continue our activities, not only for sustainability, but also for innovating, because we believe society is in constant change, and we also want a social transformation along with the digital and the green one. So
Sure. I see, and I see why you are excited about that because it sounds like a really interesting job. You were saying when I interrupted you before that you were saying that you are trying to scale your activity to an European level. Did I understand that correct?
That is right.
What are your plans? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Of course, I can provide an example. For instance, we work as an umbrella organization, right? We have this biggest ecosystem of smaller organizations, and we try to assist them in a national level with providing different tools for diagnosis, internal procedures, optimization, digital transformation. So we also work as a hub inside the foundation, and we are now practicing with all the AI agents. Like we are implementing, for instance, virtual assistants to our platforms, and we are generating like a big data infrastructure behind us. But we are aware that this is not something that every NGO can afford. And also we are aware that innovation is still something that it's getting promoted for enterprises, the big ones, but also the SMEs in the founding of the Horizon Europe calls.
Mhm.
But we feel like we don't have that big space. For instance, they are promoting data spaces in different private big sectors, such as pharmacy or space.
Mhm.
But, and of course, data spaces are super important for the afterwards becoming AI factories, solutions like ended products and smart services. But in the social economy, we also have different terminology, and we also have inclusive language and certain things, you know, that are also aligned with the AI ethics that
Mhm.
are a priority right now in the European scope. But we don't feel like we have this space for us, you know, to promote these tools and this all this infrastructure for us. So that is something that we can help, and we are willing to promote and to scale to the European level now that we have tested in the national one.
Yeah, yeah, and there's no reason why there should be any borders. You can find the same type of needs anywhere in Europe. Okay, I see where you're going, and you're planning to do that with the help of some EU programs because these organizations need funding always. It's also that's also the same all across Europe. We always need desperately to find funding. What kind of programs do you think can be used here?
Right now, we're actually starting on this matchmaking processes with the partners in Cluster 4 of Horizon Europe 2025 calls.
Mhm.
We are envisioning also the 2026 ones, and we're interested, of course, in the data destination, and also there are some AI calls that we can fit regarding these terms of ethics and inclusiveness of all vulnerable collectives. But also we are interested in digital program because that is something that complements these boosting these tools, these big ambitious tools. There is training. I mean, it doesn't really feel needed something that you don't have the knowledge to use. So we need to, you know, support all the people, all the NGO professionals, and those the SME professionals also to upskill and to reskill their staff in order to understand how these tools works and how can they really find the use for optimize their processes.
Well, you mentioned before the use of these matchmaking events that go on, mostly organized by the European Commission, I think, or some sub delegation of the European Commission. You've been using them. What do you think about those events? Do they work? Personally, I have a feeling that we don't use them enough. That we it's how do you say that in English? It's something we're wasting, a wasted opportunity. What's your opinion?
I mean, I presume you're right when you are already a partner, full partner for different proposals. But it's a great opportunity for all the small organizations. It is also complicated, at least before pandemic times, when everything was on site always,
Mhm.
because you cannot, you don't have the resources to send the staff abroad
No.
and
Mhm.
go to Brussels, for instance. So nowadays, it is true that with all these platforms that they developed and these speed dating and marketplaces that they are including in the platforms, I think it is easy to access and, of course, the hugest opportunity to find bigger partners to support you going on those proposals and learning for all the process. And I use it quite a lot, to be honest. Now I am traveling as well, and I also found different communication and dissemination organizations that are also uh, creating these events on parallel. And at the beginning, they might be smaller, but it is also good because you focus on knowing everyone, and you find that familiar atmosphere
Mhm.
that somehow really connects people. It is not, that that big congress where you get mainly lost when you are new on the
Yeah.
proposals and so on.
Yeah, it's structured. I think it's more structured than were the presential events. These matchmaking, online matchmaking events, they feel better structured, but maybe I should use them more. Uh, People who want to reach you can find you in those kinds of events, but they can also find your contacts in the notes of the podcast, if you don't mind. Please send me the contacts you want, and I'll post them in the podcast notes. I want to ask you about the future, but you said a lot. I think we can learn from what you said that you are basically focused on scaling this foundation, the activity of Hazloposible to a European level. Um, Based on your previous experience, I should ask you what do you think about the way these EU programs work? But sometimes I feel that people are a bit afraid of answering this question. So please feel free to be as open as you think you can.
Okay, yeah, I like to be honest, so no worries. I mean, I don't know, everything has a room for improvement, so I guess this is something to learn about. And actually, in the last meeting I was last week in Thessaloniki, um, we were discussing all of this, not only tending in the future to include also startups and the smaller NGOs in the programs, but we also discussed the sustainability effects of the calls. For instance, we know that new projects are always something we want to found and we want to encourage, but some of the projects that has been developed so far in their for instance, in the Horizon Europe. They are quite interesting. The results needs to be more tested and developed, and there's quite a small room for that so far. At least that is the feeling we have from the from the execution programs. Of course, you find in the calls sometimes that you need to relate to past
Yeah.
projects,
Mhm.
and you need to contact those and try to be aligned to them. But we still think that the sustainability is not being reflected sufficiently. And yeah, that is one of the points I wanted to make. And to be honest, I had another one, but I just maybe it come back later. I
It
don't
will
know.
come back later, yes. Uh, so let me ask you, what advice would you give for newcomers, for someone who's thinking about maybe I should use these EU-funded projects to develop my innovation ideas, or someone who is thinking about going to Fundación Hazloposible to help my NGO somehow develop their activities? What are your advices?
So first of all, do not be afraid of, you know, emailing people, make yourself visible. Your ideas are always good because you have I mean, if you have research or ask about the needs of your ecosystems, then you have a good idea. So the problem is not there. The problem is how you communicate it, how you make yourself visible. And also, and this is the point I wanted to make before,
Okay.
try to be consistent, because as we are talking about the matchmaking, and of course it's well structured in the sense of being quick and finding a lot of partners, potential partners to for the consortium, but try to go beyond that and to make like real connections with the companies, with the public authorities that you're working along with, because then you will realize how proposals, ideas come back to you like naturally because of these spontaneous conversations, informal coffees you share with them. You get in this innovation circle, you know, and I think it's the most exciting part of all of it.
You're saying that the interaction is the most important part for the success of. Okay, I like that point. It's a good message for newcomers. Any final? We need to close the interview with my regret. But any final message you wanna close with?
I guess we just want to send this message that NGOs, like social economy, is also important. It's also professional, and we are more than ready to be like full partners and great agents in this ecosystem innovation and change society.
Okay, thank you very much. Cristina Pérez and Fundación Hazloposible, their contacts are in the episode notes and they are ready to work with you if you have the opportunity. So, thank you very much and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Fernando. Me too.
Bye-bye.
You take care. Bye.
This is not just another call. It's your gateway to real impact through humanitarian aid, European values, and transformative learning for young people. If you're serious about getting funded for something that truly matters, here's your roadmap to qualifying. The Call ESC HUMAID 2021 Qual Label FP isn't a typical grant. It's a prerequisite. You must obtain this quality label if you want to participate in EU-funded humanitarian aid volunteering projects under the European Solidarity Corps. The main objective is to certify that your organization can provide high-quality volunteering activities aligned with EU principles: neutrality, humanity, do no harm, and long-term impact. There are 2 roles to apply for. Support role: prepare, mentor, coordinate volunteers. Host role: design and deliver the volunteering activities on the ground. So, who can apply? Well, any organization legally established in a program country, including EU member states and others like Norway, can apply for the support role. For the host role, organizations from non-program countries can apply, particularly where the volunteering will take place. International organizations are also eligible for both roles. However, it's important to note that groups of individuals or informal youth groups are not eligible. Organizations applying as support entities can also apply for the host role on behalf of their branches in other countries, under a simplified procedure. If you're awarded the quality label, you demonstrate capacity to manage volunteers safely and meaningfully. You gain access to EU calls for volunteering in humanitarian aid. Your profile is published in a European database, making you visible for partnerships and projects. Your organization is then able to advertise volunteering activities on the EU Solidarity Corps portal and submit project applications. Applications are ongoing, but there are set intervals for evaluation. To join 2022 project rounds, the cutoff was September 22, 2021, at 5 p.m. Brussels time. Expect a similar annual cycle moving forward. Always check the Funding and Tenders portal for the latest updates. There is no funding directly tied to this application. However, obtaining the quality label is mandatory before you can apply for grants with real financial support for projects, logistics, and volunteer expenses. Applications are submitted to the Education and Culture Executive Agency, also known as EACA. Use the electronic form available on the Funding and Tenders portal. Don't forget to attach a declaration of honor signed by your legal representative. Getting the quality label isn't just a box to tick. It's your path to real, boots-on-the-ground impact and to bigger EU funding opportunities. So, if you're ready to act and not just talk, apply now and unlock your path to humanitarian transformation. For more details, visit the Funding and Tenders portal.
InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles, is a weekly video podcast. Please subscribe the Polyxox newsletter to receive every podcast episode. And if you like receiving it, please press like in whatever platform you are watching or listening. Also, please share InnovEU and Polyxox with anyone you feel will enjoy it. Credits, author and host Fernando C. Gaspar, music Hugo Gaspar, Lisbon, Portugal, 2024. Reach us by email or DM.